Okay, let's unpack this. We're going to get into how music is so much more than just, background noise.
Right.
For centuries, it's been this powerful, persistent, and sometimes surprisingly stealthy tool for social change and for politics.
It's so true. I mean, a lot of people think of politics as just debates and elections, but really, it's about how society is organized, who has power, is the system fair?
And music is the emotional barometer for that system.
Exactly. It's incredibly efficient because a single hook or a memorable lyric can just bypass all the debate and reach millions instantly. It starts those big conversations, about human rights or the environment.
So let's start with the most formal, fundamental connection, identity. We see this most clearly with national anthems. These aren't just random tunes, they're special songs, officially chosen to represent an entire country. You hear them at sports games, official events.
All to create a sense of national pride. And they serve a dual purpose, really. They're a narrative device. Yeah, a story. The lyrics almost always focus on history, the bravery of past citizens, maybe the beauty of the landscape. The goal is to create a powerful sense of unity.
And the music itself is often consciously constructed to be unique, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Countries might weave in specific musical scales or traditional instruments that are instantly recognizable to their citizens. It reinforces that cultural heritage.
But it's not always that simple, is it? There's a complexity there.
A huge one. While anthems are meant to unite, they also inherently define an us and a them. And that shared identity can sometimes exclude minority groups who feel their history isn't represented in the official lyrics.
So the anthem becomes controversial.
Exactly. They become these intense public controversies. They're basically political statements disguised as tradition.
That makes a lot of sense. So we go from the official state song to something very different. The traditional songs of the people, folk music.
Yes, and if anthems are written by the powerful, folk songs are the true, unfiltered records of the common person. The farmer, the sailor, the factory worker, they're passed down orally, generation to generation.
And this was so important historically, especially for people who couldn't read or write. It was the main way to keep community history alive.
Or to share lessons, or even warn neighbors about danger. But what's really critical politically is that many folk songs contained hidden meanings, a kind of lyrical code.
So people couldn't openly criticize, say, an unfair law.
Not without great risk. So they used metaphors. They sang about crops or the weather or love gone wrong to quietly share secrets or communicate dissent.
So wait, how did the authorities not catch on? Was it just too subtle?
Often, yes. The language was coded for a specific community. A song about a hungry fox in the henhouse just sounds like a farming song, right?
Right.
But everyone in that village knew it was about a greedy landlord or a corrupt official. The music was so simple, just a guitar or a fiddle. It felt unpolished and personal. It just slipped right under the radar.
So folk music is like a primary source document for the common people.
Speaking truth to power, but from the bottom up.
That idea of speaking truth to power is a perfect transition to our next topic, the direct demand for change. Let's talk about protest songs.
These are, you could say, the evolution of folk music. But now, instead of being hidden, the message is loud and clear.
Explicit.
Very explicit. These songs were essential tools during, every major social movement of the 20th century, civil rights, anti-war movements. The goal isn't just to inform, it's to mobilize people.
And the structure of the songs themselves is important too. They often use really simple, repeatable melodies.
And very stripped-down instruments, maybe just an acoustic guitar or even just voices.
Why is that?
So the words, the message, are the absolute focus. There are no complex musical distractions.
And that taps into something deeper, what some call sonic activism.
That's a great term for it. When thousands of people sing the same simple melody and the same powerful words at a rally, it creates this incredible psychological bond.
You feel stronger.
You feel stronger, more united, and even physically safer during these tense confrontations. It's why so many protest songs from decades ago are still famous. Their messages about peace or equality are still so relevant.
They're like a living, breathing historical record.
Exactly. And that collective energy, it can move beyond a local protest to address global suffering. Which brings us to charity concerts.
Right. This is where music becomes this massive fundraising engine for things like disaster relief or famine.
The scale of an event like Live Aid back in the 80s, it just showed the world that musicians weren't just entertainers.
They were cultural power brokers. They could raise millions of dollars in a single day.
And the educational impact is huge. These concerts are broadcast globally, so they immediately teach vast audiences about crises in faraway places that, they might otherwise ignore.
The themes are always universal kindness, sharing, helping others.
And it provides a sense of hope and community, which is so important when you're talking about really difficult, heavy topics.
But of course, whenever you have a tool this powerful, people in charge inevitably want to control it.
Of course.
Which brings us to censorship. This is when a government or a large company decides a song shouldn't be played because the lyrics are too controversial or politically dangerous.
And governments, especially authoritarian ones, get very worried that a song might inspire people to organize or disagree with the rules.
Historically, entire genres have been seen as a threat, right?
Oh, definitely. Think about early rock and roll or hip-hop. They were often seen as a threat to traditional values just because they challenged the status quo.
And the consequences for the artist can be pretty severe. They might be told to change their words, or they get banned from the radio.
Or even barred from performing. And this, of course, leads to a backlash from fans who see it as a violation of free speech.
But I always wonder, doesn't censorship just backfire? I mean, if a government says you absolutely cannot listen to this song, doesn't that just make everyone want to listen to it more?
That is a critical point, yes. Prohibition often fuels interest. When an artist is banned, their message gains this almost mythical status. They become a symbol of rebellion.
So it's almost impossible to truly control.
Especially in the modern age, yes. Even though you still see editing like removing sensitive words before a song is played on the radio, true control is basically impossible. Understanding that is key to understanding global freedom of expression.
Okay, so let's shift away from conflict and control. Let's pivot to a really positive use of music between nations. Diplomacy.
Right. This is the art of countries talking to each other to keep the peace.
And musicians are surprisingly good at it.
They're very effective. Musicians are often sent to other countries as official cultural ambassadors. They're not politicians. They're just there to share their art and build genuine human friendships.
And the genius of it is that music doesn't need a translator.
Not at all. The rhythm, the melody, the emotion, it's understood universally. When people from opposing countries tap their feet to the same beat, they find common ground. They see the human side of another nation, not just a political rival.
And that idea of connection also applies at home, especially around voting.
Absolutely. Musicians will use their platform to encourage their fans, especially young people, to get involved, to register to vote for the first time.
You see it at festivals all the time. There'll be a voter registration booth right next to the merchandise table. It directly connects entertainment with civic duty.
It really emphasizes the power of an individual's choice. And then when you get into the election cycle itself, music is a core part of campaign strategy.
Oh, yeah. Candidates pick specific songs to create a mood at their rallies. A fast song for excitement, an older tune for nostalgia and stability.
But this can get tricky. The candidate has to get legal permission from the musician to use their song.
And if the politicians' views clash with the artists,
you get a very public and often newsworthy confrontation. The artist will pull their permission, and suddenly the campaign has a political headache.
Music also helps define identity on a much smaller scale within subcultures.
For sure. Think of genres like punk or goth or early hip-hop. They aren't just about musical tastes, they're social movements. They have their own styles of clothing, their own ways of thinking.
It's a form of personal politics. These groups use music to deliberately challenge the normal way of doing things.
And the music gives them this powerful shared outlet to express their frustrations and their hopes. It supports people who feel different or, pushed to the margins by mainstream culture.
And finally, we have to look at music's role in these huge global challenges, like the environment.
Many contemporary musicians are writing lyrics directly about protecting nature, cleaning the oceans, fighting climate change.
And the concerts themselves are becoming political statements. You see festivals promoting being green, using solar power for the stages, huge recycling programs.
And a lot of bands really put their money where their mouth is. They donate a chunk of their ticket sales to organizations that plant trees or clean up plastic.
It's effective because it takes these big, complex scientific ideas and makes them feel urgent and personal.
It creates a sense of accountability. And looking forward, technology is changing everything about this.
How so?
Well, things like AI and advanced software now help people write and record songs without needing a big, expensive studio.
So anyone can be a creator.
Anyone. An artist in a tiny village can share their music with the entire world instantly over the internet. It has completely democratized music production. You don't need a big record company to get famous or to spread a powerful message anymore.
The gatekeepers are gone.
They're gone. And that expansion of access is maybe the most politically significant change in music history. It ensures that no matter what, that individual connection people have to music will always be a vital way to share messages of peace, justice, and dissent.
So as you listen to music, remember that you're not just hearing notes.
You're engaging with a historical and political record. You are hearing exactly what people cared about, what they were fighting for, and what they hoped for at a specific moment in time.
Music gives you a voice and a way to connect. Whether you're trying to unite a country or just stand up for what you believe in, keep listening and keep thinking.
Good luck with your studies.